Thanks for jamming with me just for a very short time. Of course, we had the handing over of the homes. Randy Turney, just a quick squeeze in. Big up to you. Hoping that you're having a great afternoon. And of course, the news comes up right about now on your nation station, DBS Radio.
Fair and balanced, unbiased and clear, concise and accurate. This is the DBS Evening News. Here now is your presenter with the headlines.
Good evening. Welcome to the DBS Evening News. In the headlines, Housing Minister Melissa Skerritt says government's housing expansion program will provide housing to many more Dominicans. In news from the region, Eastern Caribbean authorities unite to strengthen anti-gang cooperation. And internationally, Ukraine president to speak to U.S. President Donald Trump after U.S. proposes Russia-Ukraine peace plan. I am Alian Christopher. The details of the news to follow.
This Christmas, Flo's making the season merrier when you add postpaid to internet. Unwrap a new smartphone for only $10. Plus, we're giving you 35% off your mobile bill and win even more goodies with our Spin the Wheel Christmas promotion. This Christmas, the rewards are on us. Add postpaid to your internet plan today in store or visit discoverflow.co for more info. Terms and conditions apply. Flow, we keep your Christmas rhythm flowing.
DBS News.
Welcome back. Housing Minister Melissa Skerritt says government's housing expansion program will provide housing to many more Dominicans. Her statement came as 69 families received keys for new resilient homes under the World Bank and Government of Dominica Housing Recovery Program at the Windsor Park this afternoon.
Their need for a better life must stay at the center of our work. So I say to those who are not receiving homes today, don't be dismayed. Those who have not yet gotten, because blessings move in seasons. So today it's theirs and tomorrow it's yours. Because as we speak, we have 8 other housing sites currently under construction. Following the devastation caused by Hurricane Maria, we refuse to allow our people to experience such destruction to their homes and lives again, including the painful separation we saw of families. That is why we stayed steadfast in fighting poverty through better housing. We stand firmly against displacement due to climate change and will not accept the destruction of our homes in the future. That is why we are prepared now. That's why this nation will remain resilient in the face of future hurricanes. Because every home we build now is concrete roof. The hurricanes can come, they can huff and puff, but they will not blow your house down. It is the testimonials that we hear. It is the transformations of people's lives that keep us pressing on. And you've heard it even earlier this week. We heard the testimonies, and today, it is the elderly woman who tells us that her new home has added new life and new years to her life because she can finally live in comfort and dignity.
Housing Minister Melissa Skerritt. The Housing Minister said the Housing Recovery Program was special as Dominicans were empowered during the construction of homes.
The Housing Recovery Project is the first homeowner-driven housing initiative in the entire Caribbean. This means that the beneficiaries were fully involved in the process. They were hiring their own contractors, paying the contractors, in some cases purchasing their own materials. They were showing up on site, learning a thing or two, even learning to build their house, being part of the process. It was a community energy at its best. All contractors were strictly local, ensuring that every single dollar stayed right here and circulated within the communities. But let's be honest, it was not without a challenge. We battled the rising global costs. In fact, we changed our cap many times from 50,000 up to 170,000 at the end because there were material shortages, there were increased prices, and the realities of rebuilding in a rugged, mountainous island, the terrain, The terrain is difficult, but still, we pressed on. And many of you here know the real story. Some of you here would have been disqualified, not because you didn't need a home, or not because you didn't qualify in other areas, but simply because you did not have a land title. And this is where your government stepped in. We paid for those titles. We regularized these properties. We facilitated about 170 families.
Minister for Housing, Melissa Scarrett. In all, 382 homes were constructed under the Housing Recovery Project. Meantime, Acting Prime Minister and Minister for Culture and Community Development, Greta Roberts, defended government's decision to provide homes to the Dominican people.
I know sometimes people ask, why is government investing so much in free housing for the people of Dominica? The answer is simple. We live in one of the most disaster-prone regions on earth. Climate change has made hurricanes more intense, more unpredictable, and more destructive. The storms of today are not the storms 20 years ago, and it is the poorest and most vulnerable who suffer the most when disasters strike. This government, led by Prime Minister Roosevelt Scarrett, has taken the firm decision that no Dominican family should be left to face the next hurricane with the same fragility that existed before 2017. When we say resilient housing, we mean houses which can weather the storms that we know will come. Homes that protect life. Homes that reduce the need for emergency shelters. Homes that save families from the trauma of starting all over again. Building resilient homes is a necessity for survival, an investment in our people, our economy, and our future.
Acting Prime Minister and Minister for Culture and Community Development, Greta Roberts. Employees of the National Bank of Dominica will receive a 5% increase for the 2021-2024 triennium. That's according to General Secretary of the Dominica Amalgamated Workers Union, Leah Shillingford. Shillingford says negotiations have been completed and employees will also receive an 8% increase for the next triennium 2024-2027.
The DAO has faced many challenges and conflicts with the management of the employees that the union represents in its quest for justice and peace for workers in the labor movement. As it relates to the National Bank of Dominica, you would have heard previously that we have been in the news and that there were 2 trienniums that needed to be concluded. The rates of pay for the last triennium for the 3 years had not been concluded on, and this current triennium ending 2027 needed to be addressed as well. The union agreed that in the first year of the last triennium we would have received 0%, and for the next 2 years 5% overall. For the new triennium 2024 to 27, the union and the bank agreed on an 8% increase. The staff, having not received increases for the past 5 years, will now receive 4 years back pay in December of 2025. And the union and its members are very pleased that the staff are in a happier frame of mind going into the Christmas holidays. However, there are many complaints that were presented to the bank that needs to be addressed. The bank has assured us that they are looking at each and every one of them and that all should be completed in a timely manner.
General Secretary of the Dominica Amalgamated Workers Union, Leah Shillingford. 24 awards are up for grabs in the Creole Heartbeat organized Dominica Music Awards on January 3rd, 2026. The event takes place at the Intercontinental Hotel at Portsmouth from 6 in the evening. Julie Roberts is Marketing and Communication Specialist of Creole Heartbeat.
We'll have also awards across 24 categories. But I just feel like the category is so all encompassing. You know, if you may say you're not into Buyo, it's okay, we have Calypso. If you say you're not into Calypso, we have Gospel. If you think that, okay, I'm just an engineer, we have a category where we're voting for engineers. For managers, I saw one of the managers he made a post on Facebook saying he's so humbled. He wasn't even expecting for there to be a category where he could have been nominated. So it's 24 categories. Then we will also have emotional tributes. We are given special honors, and we have 6 lifetime achievement awards and also 2 special awards on that evening. So it's a lot to look forward to. Based on the prestige that's going along with the event, you know, we are, first of all, let me say that we are at the Intercontinental, which is in Portsmouth, Dominica, and there's a capacity. It's mainly for nominees, dignitaries, cultural leaders, industry professionals, media, and sponsors. However, we have limited public tickets, and that will be released so that the fans can come and support. Okay, so from March to June 2025, the nomination period was fully open to the public. Any nominee that's presently there were nominated by the fans, not by any member of Creole Heartbeats, but by the fans. So nomination opened from March and it closed in June 2025.
And that is Julie Roberts of Creole Heartbeat. Business Professional Women has presented awards to 19 Dominican men for excellence in various fields. The awards were presented on International Men's Day at Public Service Union last night. The awards went to educator Alvin Abraham of Marigot, entrepreneur Cameron Alexander, pharmacist Clayton Bryan, businessman Clement Royer, music engineer and producer Cornell Phillip, Dr. Damien Dublin, business owners Egbert Jackson, Emil Deputa, Renith Alexis, and Ibrahim Brohim. Others recognized were Lester Guy for health, Lester John Baptist, top barman, former Chief Cultural Officer Raymond Lawrence, educator Roland Blaise, Sheldon Casimir for videography, photographer and Newton Juvenile Football Academy, bouillon artist Sheldon Alfred, cricket administrator Liam Sebastian, Curtis Vigilant, a joiner, and Cedric Warrington for community development. President of Business Professional Women, Rhoda St. John, says the awards for men will be an annual event.
So last year, we recognized 15 men, and this year, 2025, we are recognizing 19 men. But the long and short of it is we saw the importance of our men in society. We saw the importance of our men, because at the end of the day, we cannot reproduce without men. People need to be honest. We cannot reproduce without men. We cannot populate the earth without men. And at the end of the day, the word of God tells you that the man is the head of the home. So as women, your support, your backbone, the workers of the home, the people who actually take care and make sure you're well fed, you're well dressed, we are ensuring that you are recognized on International Day every year moving forward from 2024.
President of the Business Professional Women, Rhoda St. John. Minister of State in the Ministry of Services with special responsibility for children at risk, Dr. Cassandra Williams, has reaffirmed government's commitment to ensuring that every child in Dominica is protected through its interventions and legislations. Her remarks were made during her address to the nation in commemoration of Universal Children's Day.
Today, we reaffirm our commitment to the rights outlined in the UN Convention on the Rights of the Child, rights to safety, nutrition, education, health care, protection from abuse, and freedom from discrimination. As a government, we have taken important steps to strengthen these protections through the Children Care and Adoption Bill of 2023, which provides stronger safeguards for vulnerable children, and the Child Justice Bill, which reinforces rehabilitation and fairness for children in conflict with the law. But laws alone are not enough. Every child needs a community, parents, teachers, neighbors, mentors, who will actively defend their dignity, treat them with respect, and speak up when they cannot speak for themselves. And lastly, My Day, My Rights calls us all to action.
Minister of State in the Ministry of Health, Wellness and Social Services with special responsibility for children at risk, Dr. Cassandra Williams. Dr. Williams also calls on every citizen to play their part in protecting the nation's children.
Universal Children's Day challenges us to confront the realities that continue to shape our children's lives all around the world. Violence, abuse, unsafe environments. These issues cannot be solved by government alone. They require every Dominican to play a part in building a nation where children are not just surviving, but thriving. Let us ask ourselves, have I created a safe space for a child to speak? Have I helped a child feel valued? Have I stood up against injustice when a child was at risk? This is the action that today calls for. So today, as we celebrate My Day, My Rights, I invite each of you to recommit to the children of Dominica. Let us nurture them, protect them, uplift them, and guide them. Let us build a society where their rights are respected, their dreams are supported, and their voices help shape our national development. Every child deserves to grow up in a Dominica where they feel safe, heard, and valued. On this Universal Children's Day, let us renew our promise to give them exactly that. Happy Universal Children's Day to all. Let us continue working together to create a Dominica where every child is seen, heard, and valued.
Minister of State in the Ministry of Health, Wellness and Social Services with special responsibility for children at risk, Dr. Cassandra Williams. That's the national focus, regional and international developments. Up next.
This Christmas, Flow's making the season merrier when you add postpaid to internet. Unwrap a new smartphone for only $10. Plus, we're giving you 35% off your mobile bill and win even more goodies with our Spin the Wheel Christmas promotion. This Christmas, the rewards are on us. Add postpaid to your internet plan today in-store or visit discoverflow.co for more info. Terms and conditions apply. Flow, we keep your Christmas rhythm flowing.
DBS News.
In news from the region, judicial and law enforcement authorities from across the Eastern Caribbean recently convened in St. Lucia to significantly enhance regional cooperation and strategies aimed at dismantling organized gangs and their involvement in international drug trafficking. The high-level seminar, titled Gangs of the Eastern Caribbean and Their Involvement in International Drug Trafficking, was hosted by the French Embassy to Barbados and the OECS from November 13 to the 14th, 2025. The event brought together over 120 distinguished participants, including attorneys general, judges, magistrates, senior police and gendarme officers, senior intelligence officials and representatives from correctional institutions. They represented 11 Caribbean countries and territories, including Antigua and Barbuda, St. Kitts and Nevis, Dominica, St. Lucia, Barbados, St. Vincent and the Grenadines, Trinidad and Tobago, St. Martin and Jamaica, as well as mainland France and even Croatia. On the international scene, Volodymyr Zelensky will speak to U.S. President Donald Trump after the U.S. presented Ukraine with a draft peace plan to end the war with Russia. The plan was reportedly drafted by U.S. Special Envoy Steve Witkoff and his Russian counterpart Kirill Dmitriev without Ukraine's involvement. In a statement, Zelensky's office said the U.S. believed the draft plan could help reinvigorate diplomacy and added that Ukraine had agreed to work on the plan's provisions in a way that would bring about a just end to the war. The statement said Kiev supported all substantive proposals capable of bringing genuine peace closer. That's the news. Sports is up next.
Covering the nation and beyond. DBS Sports Report.
In the sports this evening, we begin with cricket. Kavem Hodge makes his return and veteran fast bowler Kima Roach has been recalled as Cricket West Indies named a 15-member squad for the 3-test series against New Zealand in December, with Shama Joseph and Alzari Joseph both sidelined as they continue rehabilitation from injuries sustained earlier this year. Selectors have turned to experience in Roach, who re-enters a fast bowling group that includes maiden call-up OJ Shields. Both Roach and Shields were part of a demanding 2-week high-performance camp in Antigua designed to prepare players for conditions in New Zealand, where pitches are expected to heavily favor pace. Hodge, who last featured for the West Indies earlier this year, returns to the test setup after previous success against fast bowling. Spinner Kyrie Pear has been left out, with slow bowling not expected to be a major factor in the upcoming series. Players traveling from the Caribbean joined their teammates already on tour, allowing ample time for acclimatization and participation in a 2-day warm-up match against New Zealand, 11 in Lincoln, Christchurch. The series is part of the 2025-2027 ICC World Test Championship cycle and will be the West Indies' final assignment for 2025. West Indies Test squad to New Zealand reads: Roston Chase as captain, Jomel Warrican the vice-captain, Alec Athenes, John Campbell, Sergeant Ryan Shandapal, Justin Greaves, Kavem Hodge, Shea Hope, Tevin Imlak, Brandon King, Johan Lane, Anderson Phillip, Kima Roach, Jaden Seals and OJ Shields. Game 2 of the DABA Premier League Finals tips off tonight, and Paybush Eagles senior player Lenin Paul believes his team is ready to level the series against the BAA Sharks. The Eagles enter the matchup trailing 1-0 in the best-of-5 finals, but Paul remains optimistic. He says the team has taken full note of the mistakes made in Game 1 and is determined to correct them as they push for a crucial victory in Game 2.
Gavin, honestly, Game 1 was a bit of a hard pill to swallow, but, the 4-point loss, it just goes to show that we still have a little bit of adjustment to make, and my team will be prepared for tomorrow's game, which is on Thursday. So we'll be there, and we'll be prepared, and we'll be ready.
And that is Paybush Eagles senior player Lenin Paul. Meantime, head coach of the BAA Sharks, Jerry Williams, is hoping his team can take a 2-0 lead in the series. The Sharks were without a few key players in Game 1, and Jerry Williams feels their presence for the game will be a major boost.
The team just need to play the same way we have played for the entire season. The intensity. We rely heavily on our defense. That is our trademark. Our defense is our trademark. And from there, we play a run-and-gun style. If we don't get that open court, we do have options where we can, score in the paint and also in our mid-range game. So it's just to go back to what worked for us in the first game. The first game we had a few key players who were injured. They should be back for the second game, which is going to help us a lot. So the whole idea is to win this second game and close out on Saturday.
Head coach of the BAA Sharks, Jerry Williams. Game 2 gets underway from 8 p.m. tonight at the Massac Indoor Facility. In football, one game is on tonight as the DFA Women's Premier League continues. Harlem United Sports Club will take on Belfast Estate Maho Soccer Strikettes. That game there gets underway from 7 p.m. at the DFA Technical Center. In some cricket, Cricket Australia confirmed today that pacer Brendan Doggett and batter Jake Weatherald will make their test debuts against England in the Ashes opener. Australia's standing captain Steve Smith confirmed that the host will field multiple debutants in an Ashes test for the first time since 2010-11 Sydney Test. Doggett earns his maiden cap with Pat Cummins and Josh Hazelwood both injured. Meanwhile, Tasmania batter Weatherald will become Khawaja's seventh opening partner since the latter's return to the side in 2022. Smith, who will lead the side during the match at Perth's Optus Stadium, also confirmed that Manus Labuschagne will slot back into his stride and test number 3 slot. The first test gets underway from 10:20 p.m. Caribbean time tonight. Still with some cricket, Ireland, they are 98 for 5 in their second innings, trailing Bangladesh's first innings total of 476 by 378 runs on the second day of the Dhaka Test. Mushfiqur Rahim scored 106 and Leighton Das made 128 for Bangladesh. Andy McBride took 6 wickets for 109 runs for Ireland. For Ireland, Sterling scored 27 and Balbirnie made 21. Bangladesh bowlers Hassan Murad has 2 for 10, while Mehdi Hassan and Taijul Islam have 1 wicket each. The unbeaten Irish batsmen are Stefan Doheny on 2 and Lochran Tucker unbeaten on 11. Finally, some domino excitement ramps up tonight as teams battle to secure their places in the next round of the Julius Timothy Independence Domino League. League coordinator Delvin Esprit says fans can expect a full weekend of competitive matchups as the tournament enters a crucial stage.
A number of interesting matches will be played from Thursday night into the weekend in the Julius Timothy Independent Domino League. On Thursday at 7 p.m., non-players will travel to Grand Fort to play Rosima White City. Action continues on Saturday. That's when Itasi Stars will be in Vickers versus Wake Up Stars. BS Stars travel to Portsmouth to play Roadside. NATO Full Effects will be in River Civic to play Badside. Roadblock travel to Grand Fort to play Baghdad. Warriors meet White City in Marigot. The unbeaten Brigadier Stars will meet Focus in Paybush. Isaac Bar, Brutal Forces will travel to Paybush to play Massey Square. And West Coast Credit and Jerry Adrian Valiants will be in Castlebush to play non-players. And on Sunday, NATO Full Effects travel to Paybush to play Massey Square. Non-players will meet Roadside in Castlebush. Rosima White City play Focus in Grand Fort. And Babdad travel to Monwatchet to play West Coast Credit Union Jerry Adrian Valiants. Delvin Esprit reporting.
And all thanks to Delvin Esprit for that report. And that wraps up our news for this evening. On behalf of our news and sports and our links person, I am Arlian Christopher saying good evening. Join us again at 7 a.m. tomorrow for our major morning news.
DBS Radio gives you top quality service over any other for live streaming of funerals. Call us today at 448-3282.
Good evening and welcome to this evening's edition of the DBS Radio Community Bulletin Board. It is the 20th day of November 2025. We begin with this evening's edition of the DBS Radio Deaf Announcements on the DBS Radio Community Bulletin Board. We announce the death of Louis Martin Sevre, age 82, of Roseau, who resided at Lower Kingshill. He was a former customs officer. He died on Monday, the 13th of October 2025 at the Dominica China Friendship Hospital. He was the father of Tricia Sevre, Reginald Sevre, Catherine Sevre, that should be Catherine Sevre Carrere, and Ashma Sevre Bertie. He will also be remembered by the mother of his children, Rosette Williams Daniel, his brothers, Stephen Jack Sevre, Clement Sevre, Peter Sevre, and Dr. Francis O. Sevre. Sisters, Jacqueline Sevre Shillingford, Helen Sevre Loda, Marcella Sevre, and Annette Sevre Lestrade. His grandchildren, Alicia Mason Store, and her husband Tomas Mason Store, Shakima Nazario and her husband Carlos Nazario, Carlene Sevre, Sharifa Wright and her husband Kishane Wright, Camilda and Kalia Sevre, Karmali Javon Cameron and Cahill Sevre, Ryan Samuel and wife Kayla Samuel and Alexia Bertie, his great-grandchildren to include Michelle Sultan and Alexander Nazario. Caregivers Rose Berlin Marcellus, his nieces and nephews to include Corinne and Glenn Laville, Mary Loda Paris, Shari Ann Shillingford, Gail Shillingford Eggers, Ricardo Ian Shillingford, Dr. Noella Shillingford, Lee Pong, Lashon Powell, Peter, Sydney, Jerry, Eddie, Arlene, Kirk and Leslie Sevre, Oliver Sevre, Kyle, Hassan and Safir Azil, and Dr. Nakisa Sevre and Ryan Sevre. Sons-in-law Fitzroy Bertie and Austin Carrere, brother-in-law Swinburne Lestrade, sisters-in-law Nellie Sevre, Rosabella Sevre and Gina Sevre, cousins to include the Defoe, Ito, Kazumi and Sevre families. Close friends Daphne Williams and family, Swinburne Lestrade, Algernon Martin, Mr. Reginald Ellie, Ozzie Lewis, Aurelius Jolly, Andy Carter, Jim, Martha Charles, Norman and Valley Leta, Dens Shillingford, St. Havis Shillingford, Desmond Blanchard and family, the Laville family, the community of Kingshill, Dr. Alison Abel, the doctors, nurses and staff of the Alfred Ward at the Dominica China Friendship Hospital, management and staff of FARCS, custom staff and many other names too numerous to mention. The body of the late Louis Martin Sevre of Roseau, who resided at Lower Kingshill, can be viewed from 9:30 a.m. on Friday, the 21st of November 2025 at Our Lady of Fairhaven Cathedral. The funeral mass will take place at 10 a.m. and will be followed by interment at the Roseau Catholic Cemetery. We announce the death of Theodora Leta, better known as Tedo, age 63 of Grand Bay. She died on Wednesday, the 29th of October 2025. She was the mother of Tamara, Yasmin, Fernelfia, Tiny, Brittany, Brinson, and Brigil. She will also be remembered by her siblings, Nurse Euseb, James, Andrew or Osborne, Carlton or Abio, Philip, Francisca, and Rosette. Her grandchildren, Cahill, Dana, Merlana, Taya, Aubriana, and Brayley. Nieces and nephews, Pearl, Sylvian, Roger, Fernanda, Natasha, Deborah, Sandy, Marvlin, Alicia, Fidel, Roosevelt, Carlton Jr., Andy, Anne-Marie, Nikael, Houston, Denisha, Zari, and others. Other relatives, the Leta family of Pichelin, the Athanas family of Grand Bay and Portsmouth, relatives of the late Thomas Baptist of Newtown, the Peter family of Portsmouth, Johnson, Augustine and family, the children of the late Veronique Angol, Ernestine Drago, May Athanas, and Lucille Philip, and others. Close friends, Joseph Calitas Henry, Honorable Prime Minister Roosevelt Skerritt, Father Francis, Haggai, Julian Paquette and family, Odo Henry and family, Annie, Chad, Donovan, Egbert, also known as Jackson, Archer, the Edwards family, and others as well. The body of the late Theodora Leta, better known as Tedo of Grand Bay, can be viewed from 2:30 p.m. on Friday, the 21st of November at the Grand Bay Catholic Church. The funeral mass will take place at 3 p.m. and will be followed by interment at the Grand Bay Catholic Cemetery. We announce the death of Paul Harris, better known as 16, age 59 of Stock Farm. He died on Monday, the 17th of October at the Dominica China Friendship Hospital. The funeral arrangements for the late Paul Harris, better known as 16 of Stock Farm, will be given in a subsequent announcement. The management and staff of your nation station, DBS Radio, extends deepest condolences to all bereaved.
And now, your Community Bulletin Board.
Welcome to this evening's edition of the DBS Radio General Announcements and what's on the DBS Radio Community Bulletin Board. Big Edge Financial Express informs the general public that they will be relocating from 71 Hillsborough Street to their new office at 23 Hillsborough Street on Monday, the 24th of November 2025, right next to the Wesley High School. As such, Big Edge